Shalom, good evening. David Sparkwich here with myhebrewmentor.com. We're going to be taking a look today at Genesis chapter 14, verse 17 in the original Hebrew. So let's go ahead and try our hand at reading. No matter your reading speed, even people that are fairly new to biblical Hebrew, as long as you've learned your consonants, some of your vowels, you should be able to follow along, at least in some measure. So this first word is Vayetze Melech Sodom Likarto Acharei Shuvo Me'akot Et Kedlaomer. That's a tongue twister. So it's the name of a king that led a federation of other kings and ransacked Sodom, Gomorrah, and some other associated towns, and they took Lot and his whole family captive and lots of other booty. He's got a very long name. Kedlaomer. Say that again. Kedlaomer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. Ba'et hamelachim asher ito. So this little sign here is called an atnak, looks like an upside down wishbone. Atnak is a Masoretic diacritical marker which indicates a stopping place in a pasuk, in a verse, and more like the middle place of, if you're breaking a verse into two phrases or two clauses, thought for thought. Every verse, at least the larger ones, are going to have a dividing point. The smaller ones do not have an atnak. And so it's not the middle of the verse in terms of like letter for letter, because that would be somewhere in this area here, but thought for thought. Okay, let's complete the pasuk. El Amek Shaveh. El Amek Shaveh. Let's try that again. Vayetze Melech Sodom. Vayetze Melech Sodom. Likrato Acharei Shuvo. Likrato Acharei Shuvo. Me'akot Et Kedlaomer. So Me'akot Et Kedlaomer Va'et hamalachim. Va'et hamalachim asher ito. El Amek Shaveh. It's just going to be roughly translating these words into English. So Vayetze, the word Vayetze means and he went forth, or and he went out. And it's going to tell us who went out. Melech Sodom went out. So the king of Sodom went out. Vayetze. The root word of vayetze is yatzah, is to go out. And most often when you have a yod that is affixed to the front of the Hebrew verb, it will mean he will. So it's an indicator of future. Most grammarians would say incompleted action. They would tend to want to use that as opposed to talking about a future event. In this case, you've got a doubling of the consonant. So there's a little, see that little thing that looks like a period inside the yod in the belly of the yod? So one of the yods is part of the root, yod sade aleph, the three-lettered root yatzah, to go forth. And the second yod is actually a pronoun that is affixed to the front of this word. And so you just have one yod superimposed on another yod. I know that can be a bit confusing, but you've got more than one yods here. And it's important to recognize that if we're to be able to translate this correctly. The vav simply means and. Vav conversive means and. he went forth. And he went forth. So the king of Sodom went forth. Let's continue on. This is a prepositional lamed, which means to. King of Sodom went forth to krato, likrato. This is a word that usually means to read or to call out or to cry out. In this context, it actually means to greet. You can see that as with most languages, I should probably say all languages, words don't always have one meaning. Words have a range of meanings. And kara means to call most of the time, but there will be some exceptional cases where it has a little bit of a twist to its meaning. This is one of those. So he went forth to greet him. This cholam right here, cholam vav means him. Him is a reference to Avram, to Abraham. Abraham had success in battle. He'd retrieved the booty, rescued Lot and his family, and most likely hundreds of other families had been rescued, and he was very much a deliverer. So the king of Sodom is coming out to greet him after Abraham has had success in battle. Okay, next line. Achrei shuvu. Achrei shuvu. So this word simply means after. Shuvu, shuv is a Hebrew word that means to repent or to return. It also means to turn. So turn, return, repent. So after the cholam vav here, another cholam vav, still a reference to Abraham. So after Abraham returned is the sense. I've put red bars where there's supposed to be pausal markers in the Masoretic text, so we know exactly where to pause in our reading. Okay, so continuing on. After Abraham had returned, me'akot. So this is a preposition which means from. Prefixed mem more times than not means from in biblical Hebrew. And from hakot, from the smiting. So he smote, he killed a lot of kings, bad guys, so that he could liberate the good people that were held captive. So after he returned from smiting, who did he smite? The Hebrew word at is generally understood to be the marker of the direct object. It tells you when a direct object is coming. It also can mean with, but in most instances, it's just a silent indicator. It's non-translatable. It tells you the direct object is coming. And so this tells us that Avram returned from smiting, and he smote Kadalai Omer, who was the leader of a coalition of kings. Va, and. So when you have vav prefixed to a word in Hebrew, it means and. And another marker of an additional direct object, a compound direct object, is hamelechim. Hamelechim. So ha means the, definite article. Ha-melechim. Melech is the singular for king in ancient Hebrew. The plural would be pronounced melechim, more than one king. And it's going to give us some other qualifying information at the bottom of the last line, Asher Ito. So he smote Kadalai Omer, and he also smote the kings, which with him, objective pronoun, him. And this is a good example, as I just shared, as I just told you that at can mean with in some cases. Well, this is a good example. So we've got at's being used a couple of different times to mark direct objects, direct object, marker of direct object. But here, not a marker of a direct object, but it actually means with. So the kings who were, or which were, Asher can mean whom, which, and a host of other things, but that's primarily what that word means, Asher. Asher, the kings that were with him. Him is Kadalai Omer. El emek shave, in, preposition meaning in. El with a tsere means God. El means in or into. El, in. Emek, the valley of Shave. I realize that Shave can be used in the wisdom literature. I see that a lot in the Psalms to mean vanity, emptiness, people who put their trust in, let's say, idols or things that are vain, things that will never last. They're not eternal. They're not noble. Shave, vanity. But this is actually a proper noun that means in the valley of Emek. Let's go ahead and clear the whiteboard here. So let's read this one more time together. First, we're going to do a translation quickly in English. This would be in English. And he went forth. It tells you who did that. Melech Sodom, the king of Sodom, went forth. Likato, to greet him. After he returned from smiting Kadolai Omer and the kings who were with him in the valley of Shave. And someone had mentioned in one of my Hebrew groups that there's a couple Israeli professors that believe that they had actually discovered, they think they have a case they build that there's a certain street in the vicinity of Jerusalem that they actually say, this is actually the ancient place of this valley of Shave, Emek Shave. So that's not proven, but they have some type of a theory or hypothesis based on certain evidences. I thought that was rather interesting. Many times we can, in fact, find the exact location of these biblical locations in ancient times that are many millennia old that the Bible writers reference, and there are quite a few times where we have no idea, no indication, because these places have been covered over by the sands of time, and there hasn't been any archaeologists that have successfully been able to positively identify those places. But we have lots of places that we can positively identify, and that's rather exciting, because we can actually pull up color photographs of what these places look like today, and it's just pretty fascinating. So thank you for joining me. If this has been helpful to you, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like the post and follow me. I am going to be putting these out regularly. We're going to be taking just a verse at a time. I will be dealing with different aspects of grammar, biblical Hebrew. And I realize this is probably a bit more advanced than lessons I would give for someone that was like just starting out. And we will be spending time in the future dealing with rules and laws of Shva. How do we know when a Shva is silent or vocal? We'll do a Dagesh drill from time to time, and we will identify the Dagesh. Is it a strong Dagesh? Is it a weak Dagesh? And what is a Dagesh? And what does that all mean? How does it impact the reading? Along with consonant drills, consonant sprints, vowel sprints, and I have a host of other tricks and tools and exercises I've come up with that have been of great value to those who want to learn biblical Hebrew, and I have engineered an approach that will actually cause you to advance in your Hebrew learning skills at a very fast pace, if you do what I tell you. It's not hard, but it does take effort, and it does take 10 or 15 minutes a day, but it's important to have the right teacher, the right program, and I definitely have answers for you. If you're discouraged, if you're looking for some help with biblical Hebrew, that is, I'm all over that. That is exactly what I'm about at myhebrewmentor.com, so I encourage you to visit me at that URL, which goes to my Facebook business page, and you can take a look at my credentials. You could read a little bit of what my current and former students have to say about my teaching skills and how it has helped them. Then I challenge you to take the 5-question Biblical Hebrew self-assessment, and then you will be permitted access to a link which will take you to my auto scheduler, where you can meet with me for 15 minutes on a Zoom call. That's a complimentary one-time offer, 15-minute assessment, and I will spend some time with you. and get to hear your heart for what you want to accomplish. And I will set you on the right path, give you some direction, give you some encouraging things that would help you along the way. So that is about it for today. So I am signing off. This is David with myhebrewmentor.com, signing off from the Galut. Shalom, shalom. See you next time.